Just before this, a game called Pick Me Up suddenly appeared. The gameplay is to conquer the tower by cultivating heroes. The goal is to conquer the 100-story tower, and today, a man, in order to obtain the legendary 7-star hero, decided to participate in the event. The hero's level ranges from 1 star to a maximum of 7 stars. The man failed to obtain a hero above 5 stars. After thousands of gacha pulls, as you can imagine, 7-star heroes are incredibly rare, but this game has a fundamental difference from other games. That is, once a hero dies, they can never be revived. The man then entered an event dungeon, but the next second, the game sent a warning. Immediately, all the members of the team were plunged into fear. Damn it, what the hell is going on? Then the squad sent out by the man was completely wiped out. Immediately afterwards, a dark shadow appeared before them. It was actually level 999. Could this be a bug? This is definitely a bug. At that moment, the dark figure let out a sinister smile at the man. Finally found you. Then the man's eyes went black. When he opened his eyes again, he found himself in an unfamiliar environment. In his ears, the game starting sound effects echoed repeatedly. If you want to save the world, then climb the giant tower. Countless heroes will be with you. Then a message arrives. Tutorial mission: kill the goblins invading the village. Wait, goblins. Is this a game world? The goblins suddenly attack the man. The man swings his sword to block, and at this moment, the battle will proceed automatically. Please experience the high-level combat brought by A. Immediately after, the man uncontrollably swings his sword. He slays the goblin on the spot. Moments later, the man is still in disbelief at what just happened. Wait, this familiar scene is just like that game. Meanwhile, the man has not realized what's happening. Then a golden light appeared. Ultra rare hero, Sela. Hero level 4. The man then joined the battle once again. Under Sheila's guidance, the man once again finished the battle without any danger. However, what happened next truly made the man experience what it meant to have survived a close call. The final stage of the tutorial, the hero's enhancement method synthesis. At this moment, an elf continuously urged the man to hurry inside. Are you? Yes, but how do you know my name? My name is Henrusian. How's that possible? Are not you called Han Israt? Are you a human from Earth? Of course, unless you're from Mars. And yet the elf seems to be extremely angry. How is this situation being handled? Then a kick sent the man into the synthesis room. Do not worry, it's just synthesis, he will not die. Immediately after, the man's hands began to glow blue. Wait a minute, does not synthesis mean I will become experience points? Because synthesis means combining 2 heroes into one. One hero, sacrificing a 4-star hero to strengthen another hero. But the problem lies here. Because if it were a normal player, they would never sacrifice a 4-star hero to strengthen a 1-star hero. Am I gonna die here? As a synthesis the man feels a surge of power within him, but Sheila turned into light and slowly disappeared. Why do you disappear? I just not chosen. I'll leave it to you next time. Then the man was left standing there in a daze. The man passed the tutorial and came out. And outside, there are also people who have suffered the same fate as the men. They do not know where they are either, nor why they were transported here. At that moment, the elf Isel suddenly appeared before them. He said he was the administrator of this place. He said if they did not want to die, they should not tremble. Meanwhile, the swordsman believed that he was the one who had transported them here. He drew his sword at me. I warned. In the next moment, the swordsman was killed on the spot, and this is the consequence of attacking me. Meanwhile, the operation to conquer the giant tower began. The first team quickly joined the group. Then the elf opened a time rift. Do you see that door? If you do not want to die, go in there. In front of them are 5 members of the team. At this moment, the man called out to the elf. You want us to conquer the giant tower too, right? Then have the player grant us weapons. Without weapons, we might as well be walking to our deaths. And the precious 2-star hero from earlier is already dead. This level of request should be acceptable, right? At this moment, the elf was pondering this matter. Then she agreed to the man's request and uploaded it to the player. Soon after, the player provided them with some weapons. After selecting suitable weapons, the elf asked them to immediately enter the time rift. On the other side, the man chose a very unremarkable wooden shield. While the woman was very curious, you're still picking shields at a time like this? But how did you know about the elves? And why we need weapons? All I know is we need to get into the fight. The rest is up to you to figure out. Meanwhile, news arrives that the first wave has been completely wiped out. How could they be completely annihilated so quickly? Damn, how did they all die on the first floor? At this moment, the second team has successfully arranged. Looks like our turn next. They walk straight to the tower. The main dungeon's current challenge level is the first floor. Conquer the tower and save the world. At this moment, the gate in front of them emitted a glow. Everyone be alert. The battle begins. By the time they regain their senses, they'll find themselves on a grassland. Floor 1 mission: begin eliminating all monsters. You'll die if you do not fight properly, so everyone please be on your guard. However, the 3 people nearby were so scared that they started running around. Then they fell into a state of terror. Then, They realized they could not get out of here at all, because there was a huge barrier blocking their way. As long as we defeat the goblins, we can leave here alive. The man then signaled to take the lead in defense. He would be responsible for attacking with the bow. So what should they do? Do not worry, they cannot be of any help anyway. At this moment, the goblins launched an attack on them. Although the man had never used a sword or shield before, he still chose to step forward and defend against the enemy's fierce assault. It seems, I've entered a game where everything depends on luck. At that moment, news came that the fat guy had fallen. They were so scared that they fled in panic. The man, on the other hand, was just grateful to be alive, because he somehow survived the encounter. It was all thanks to the player's foolish actions. At this moment, the scene beside him distracted the man's attention. In the next second, his arm was actually severed by a goblin on the spot. You damn bat. Although I do not know, why was I summoned here? But the only thing I'm sure of is one thing. That is, the level 999 bug once mocked me. It was definitely him who brought me here. A moment later, the man collapsed onto the ground. Is your arm? It'll be fine once we get outside. And in this game, the opportunities for players to engage in combat are extremely limited, because most of the heroes are controlled automatically. But despite this game is still hugely popular worldwide. The fundamental reason is that players can observe this world like gods, and I'm a loyal fan of this game. I know everything about hero training and hidden information. I know, because I'm the world's 5th ranked player. Loki. Scene change. The man is now frantically training himself, because he knows the rules of this world's game. There are 2 ways a hero can disappear. They can die in battle or be synthesized. It's a 1-star hero. In this game world, they have no significance, because 1 star is the lowest level of consumable. Their base stats and growth are exceptionally low. If it goes on like this, I will never escape the fate of being synthesized. For that, I must give everything to become stronger. I will take my revenge, although I do not know what will happen in the future. If I do not accept and adapt to everything, I'll be eliminated soon. Immediately, the man began training himself intensely. At this moment, Jen approached him. You know we cannot leave here right now, right? I thought about it all night yesterday. Crying and whining would not change anything. You know how to survive, right? The man is very curious. Is this your first time in real combat? Of course. At this moment, the man glanced at his information. Did the growth value increase by 4 points yesterday? Although the growth value is relatively low, he has the advanced skill of a 1-star hero. He's not like the others. He has a clear goal. So the man decided to help him. Then I'll leave it to you, brother. When teaming up with a close hero, you will gain ability bonuses. The scene. The man is searching for the fairy Izel. What's wrong? I'm quite. If you have any burning questions, go conquer the giant tower. The answer's inside. But, can only I see your status window? I have no idea what you're talking about. Is not it written here? Level 257? How can you see this? Did you mess something up? Though he did do some annoying things. And the elf's reaction made the man more certain that he could see the game information, even the player's every action. At this time the man asked the elf, what if the player gives up and stops playing? Hopefully it would not come to that. A synthesis accident occurred to the player. He synthesized a 1-star hero from a 4-star hero. You should know that the probability of summoning a 4-star hero is only 1%, and he carelessly discarded it. The game and the phone are linked together, so it cannot be restarted. And the last time it went online, it had been a week since the first time. Does that mean time here is different from Earth's? At this point Izel was clearly very impatient. Do not ask me any more questions, so time is different, right? Thank you for the tip. Damn you 1-star guy. At this moment, the man realizes that the elf cannot move on its own, because it can only be punished when it's triggered by self-defense, or when it goes against the player's orders. Meanwhile, Jenna curiously asks the man, what have you been talking about just now? We need to conquer the 100-floor giant tower in the future. A person called a player can give us orders through spirits, and we need to complete these tasks. Maybe once we reach the 100th floor, we will be set free. But can we do it with just the 2 of us? Players can summon guys like. So in the future, more humans will be transported here, and our ultimate fate will depend on the player's choices. The scene. The man who finished his training discovered the rules of this world. Essential supplies will always be replenished the next day, and the things you want will appear before you instantly. Moreover, the rules of training follow a different pattern. Now, I understand that part I did not know when playing the game. Often there are players of the same level, but exhibiting different fighting capabilities. They all have one thing in common: they consistently train. And while training does not increase level, it does improve skill proficiency. A discerning player. Heroes are divided into 3 categories. First is mentality. Players do not care for heroes that are easily panicked. Next, skills. When high-level heroes are summoned, they already know their skills. Low-level heroes, on the other hand, require players to discover their skills. Lastly is the body. This is also the reason I work hard to train my body. The scene. 3 days have passed since the training, and today the player has logged in. Meanwhile, the man looks at the 2 skills he just acquired. Get ready. The player's here. Team is 5 slots available. So the player needs to summon 3 more heroes. The next moment, 3 heroes suddenly appeared before them. There's no time to explain now. Please get ready for battle quickly. While there's still time, quickly grab your weapons. The 3 people nearby. They were complaining to the elf about all of this. Will they die like this? Let's not worry about them for now. Soon after, they received a lesson from the elf. Please behave yourselves. Just like them. Be careful on the road. The scene shift. They received a mission from floor 2. Eliminate all the monsters. At this moment, Eksun was frightened by the scene before him. He's instantly overwhelmed by fear. Even Jenna felt a slight fear. So the man decisively woke him up. In an instant, his fear was gone. As expected, new recruits are all useless. At this moment, the wild wolf suddenly launched an attack on the man. The man drew his longsword and pierced it on the spot. Is it still not dead? The man then exerted force and immediately killed the wild wolf. At this moment, another wild wolf launched an attack. The man decisively raised his shield to block, then he swung his sword, but it was easily dodged. Immediately after, a heavy sword strike came down. It killed him on the spot. What happened to Jenna's goblin? The goblin had already been shot full of holes like a beehive. Enough, they're already dead. They were then teleported back inside. Congratulations on breaking through the 2nd floor of the tower. Then a tremor shook the ground. Then they arrived at the 3rd floor. Does the player want to tackle the 3rd floor now? But what should be done in this situation? With the notification of the player going offline, the man put his worries to rest. Could it be that they tackle 1 floor a day? If the time here is 3 times that of Earth, then the player's next login will be 3 days later. The scene shift. Sanga looks at his status window. His intelligence has decreased by 1 point, but his strength has increased by 2 points. Although the overall increase is still 4 points, the upgrade efficiency has improved. This should be the evidence that his physical condition is improving. At the same time, the 3 people beside him kept complaining about all of this, and the man finally understood why a 1-star hero had no presence at all. The 2-star hero once said that self-packing was a rookie. The more stars, the stronger the battle instinct. If a 1-star hero is thrown into battle right after summoning, they will fall into fear. However, it is different once you reach 3 stars or above. They were able to start fighting immediately, without any. Could it be that they were summoned with full knowledge? Or is there some other reason? At this moment, Jenna signaled for the man to come over and help. Those useless guys. Why should I do this? Anyway, they'll all disappear soon. But this drew a man's displeasure. So the man punched him to the ground. The guy who only trembled in the back during the fight has no right to talk to me. Cut to. The 2 continued their training. During this time, their strength has been greatly enhanced. At this moment, an arrow struck the man directly, but the man calmly pulled it out. The wound instantly healed as if it were never there, and he gained the pain tolerance skill. Then the man continued his training. I will not give up just like this, because this is proof that I am still alive. Gain new skill. Learn level 3 basic sword and shield technique. 3 days later, the player is already online. Hurry to the square. And Jenna looks like she's all set for battle. In contrast, the 3 people beside her keep complaining about everything here. Even Isel is finding it hard to bear. So they were immediately taught a lesson. Then they entered the 3rd floor. The task was to eliminate all the monsters. We just had to do it the way we were trained. Then the man took the lead and launched the attack. Moments later, the 2 of them had cleared all the monsters on the 3rd floor. But the 3 behind him did not help in the battle at all. It does not matter. You cannot gain experience points without participating in the battle. The man observed the player's next move. He wanted to challenge floor 1 again. It seems the player wants to make us go in circles. The next second, they were sent back to floor 1. Although the number of monsters was large, but they quickly conquered this place. Then the players began to challenge again. It seems the conquest was too easy. The players would not let us rest easily. However, after countless repeated attempts, the 2 of them finally collapsed on the ground. Now the players probably would not choose to challenge again. A moment later, I was really going crazy. How much longer are we supposed to take care of them? A synthetic house suddenly appeared before everyone's eyes. Then the large door slowly opened. Those players were given so many chances, but they did not know how to appreciate them. Now no one can save them, because the players in God mode can easily spot who is slacking off, who is the most diligent. At this moment, the elf gestures for Jenna to enter the synthesis room with Yelson. The man, however, says that he will be fine. So what will happen if I go in there? Your actions will be judged. How else do you want me to help you? Even if you were just pretending to fight earlier, the outcome would still be different. I'm tired of taking care of you all. Hurry up and go inside. The player decisively pressed the synthesis button. With that, the uncle turned into a blue light. Synthesis complete. Jenna leveled up and learned the eagle eye skill. At this moment, Jenna was curious. Why did the uncle disappear? Here, those who are useless will die as sacrifices. Next, my turn. Who will it be between you all this time? The next one is Hanobi. Yet Toby still could not accept what's happening in front of him. Am I going back? Just think of it that way. The screen marks the end. Synthesis complete, and has upgraded and gained the comm skill. The man calmly walks out of the house. Looks like you're lucky this time. If the player no longer needs us, will we disappear from that room? Do not be so negative. Do not you want to survive to the end? But he just cannot accept what's happening. He cannot accept. The higher we climb, the stronger the monsters will encounter, and the stronger the summoned beings will be, and will either be killed by the enemy, or die as. If you want to survive, you have to choose the right team. The scene. Jenna bowed deeply to the man. I want to try my best to live. You just need to persevere with your training, then you will not so easily. At that moment, the man beside them also expressed a desire to join their team. I've caused you all a lot of trouble before. I would only cower behind others during battles. But now I want to change. But the man still did not believe him. He threw a spear to the man. If you want to survive, you must be prepared to fight. Although I'm not an expert, I heard this spear is the easiest to master. I do not know if you've heard of the close mid-long rule. Jen explained it. Use a sword at close range, a gun at mid, and a ball at long range. What are you waiting for? Get ready for battle. But he stood frozen, unsure of what to do. Then the man suddenly launched an attack. Watch out and learn on your own. At least you should be grateful there sent opponent here, because I used to train with scarecrows. At this moment Aaron closed his eyes in fear. Are you really closing your eyes during the fight? The man suddenly lunged at Aaron. If I were a monster, you'd be dead by now. And Jenna said this was only his first day. Is not this a bit too forced? I do not want to drag a burden around everywhere. If you not keep up, just give up. Hey, do you have family? I have a younger sister waiting for me. What if you die here? You should know that being killed by a monster hurts. It's better to just combine and get it over with. So can you really keep going? Aaron's gaze instantly became much more determined. The scene. The player has built a blacksmith shop. Now he can move freely. And the blacksmith shop is now open. At this moment the man calls out to Isel. Let's talk about something else. You sent the guide to the player, right? Are you able to go online? Of course, surfing the internet is my hobby. The guide you sent came from the forum, right? After summoning 10 pieces of equipment, put a level 1 hero into the training grounds. Next, open the blacksmith shop. But Ezra looked at it with curiosity. How did you know? This is a popular article on the Pick Me Up official website. It is uploaded by Loki. Do you know Loki? Of course, I'm a player of the game. Well, you're just a small player in the game. Only Loki is the god of Pick Me Up. If he had a 7-star hero, he has long been the #1 in the world. So why do you like Loki? Because he is someone who can turn the impossible into possible. Really? Well, I'm sorry about that, because I'm Loki. But Isel thinks he's lying. Then the man recited his self-registered account. For some reason, only the player and relevant personnel know the account. If you do not believe me, you can confirm it yourself. At this moment, Isel is confirming quickly. Are you really Loki? Could you give me your signature? With that, could I become a member of Ragnarok? What is that? It's a fan club formed by Loki fans. You can only become a member if you have Loki's signature, and the man is completely unaware of this. Wait, so, have I always been so arrogant when talking to Loki? I'm just a 1-star hero now, I do not care about this stuff at all. Wait, what would have happened if you were not in Niflheim? I'm not sure either. Niflheim is the name of my account's lounge. The standby area alone has 13 floors, able to accommodate around 20,000 people. Although most of the facilities are level 18-22 infrastructure, the official version is the final form of the building, but the man has already turned into a hero. So what should be done with those 20,000 players? If you're unhappy, you can send them away. But Isel said he cannot do anything. I know you're just middle management here too. Anyway, the player in the lounge is an earthling, right? And all the summoned heroes are human. That's right. Although they're from different worlds, they're all human. The player does not know we're all human. I'm just simply enjoying the game. But if I reach the 100th floor of the tower, will I be able to return to Earth? However, Isel claims to know nothing about it. Do you know who brought me here? He was unable to answer. Sorry, I could not be of any help. It's okay. Once I reach the tower, everything will be clear. So the next question, to what extent can you access the player's permissions? Only to shut down facilities and allow heroes free movement. Are other players' lounges similar to this one? Essentially, yes, they're largely the same. I never imagined that the worlds in the game were actually real. Then the judgments I made unintentionally before, all will bring devastating blows to the hero. Scene change. Genius. His strength grows at an unimaginable speed. Although he has not used a short sword, he can quickly grasp the essentials. In contrast, Aaron is stagnant. If this continues, he will eventually die. At this moment, the man signaled for Jenna to follow him. Meanwhile, the elf and she were arguing over who was the subordinate #1. So the man decisively stopped all of it. A moment later, they arrived in front of the warehouse. Azel, you mentioned you have the access permission, right? Please open the warehouse for me. The man then took the following materials. Next, we were going to the blacksmith shop. Of course, it's about forging a new weapon. Because during the conversation with Isel, the man realized he was half player, half hero. So is it possible for him to use a region that only players can access? And Isel, who was standing nearby, curiously asked the man if he wanted to forge the Sword of Victory. Is it in this place? No blacksmith. No blueprints. Punishment will follow. Yes, success rate is extremely low. Whether to synthesize right, the man decisively chose to make it. Immediately another message arrived. Please select the puzzle difficulty. The higher the difficulty, the higher the reward. So the man chose the Ultra Hell difficulty. That's a triple penalty. This is a minigame designed for players. Although most players do not play it, its rewards are still quite good. Then the minigame began to start. Time limit 3 minutes. Is it enough to just piece them together? Then let's get started. The man quickly began assembling the blocks. Could this be the legendary right hand of God? A message appeared. Henna successfully crafted a fine quality longsword grade C. A longsword appeared right in front of the man. Fine quality longsword grade is sturdy, lightweight, and sharp. Although the material is rough, it is compensated for by the technology. Next, the man crafted shields of the same tier. And spears, because of the material, are all of them C rank. But would not you make a few more? That would be noticed by the players. The player begins to tackle level 4. Facing a horde of monsters ahead, the man can only remind Aaron to protect himself. At that moment, the monsters launched an attack, but Aaron, scared, swung his weapon wildly. Then he's too scared. But the next second, Jenna slapped Aaron to snap him out of it. Calm down. Do you want to die here? The three of them then began to cooperate and divide tasks. With their cooperation, the monster was quickly wiped out completely. A moment later, Aaron felt very sorry for his own performance. I do not think I was very active just now. What kind of judgment will I face? The player has added Aaron to their favorites. It seems the player likes you. You've escaped. Aaron instantly felt much lighter after escaping. It seems your two subordinates have grown well. My subordinates? Strictly speaking, my number 1 subordinate should be Sirius from Niflheim. There are 5 people in the team. They are max level 6-star heroes. They possess 5 self-crafted artifacts and various ultimate skills. If I climb the tower, I should meet them. Because it's an Isle game, so Sarah should handle things in Niflheim. If something unexpected happens, we still have Yulnet, because men do not think they're artificial intelligence. Meanwhile, Saris, are you really going? Yulnet, you should know that this situation is very urgent right now. Then I'm counting on you. The Niflheim is in your hands. I will definitely find the player's trail. Scene transition. All the buildings in the player's lounge have been upgraded. Jenna was shocked by everything in front of her. What is going on here? It seems the player has started spending. Is the game becoming more and more interesting? Making players feel that the game is very real. Anyway, the higher you climb, the better the lounge becomes, but based on the player's online time, he is very likely a working professional. At this moment, a message arrives. The player starts a 10x summon. Then a beam of light appears in front of the man. There are 2 ways to summon. One is the regular summon using experience. The other is the advanced summon using gems. Of course, gems need to be obtained through consumption. The heroes you get will also have better quality. At this moment, a group of heroes slowly walked out from the door, but the man drew his longsword. Quiet down. I do not want to explain too much to you right now. I will only tell those who survived the battle. Immediately after, Isel issued the order for the carpenter to go that way. Next is the blacksmith. Then comes the chef. But Jenna did not understand what the elf was doing. He was just assigning roles. Because there are many more facilities here. If the people who died before are summoned again, then they can do things other than fighting. The player then starts organizing the second team. The man quickly understood the player's intention. He wanted to filter through the dungeon and keep the useful heroes. Soon only 2 people remained in the second team. Then came the next team. But they are very scared of this. At this moment, Aaron volunteered. He said he would go with them. The player agreed to his request. It's good that Aaron helps others, but we need to keep useful people. I understand. At this moment, Jenna was complaining. They eat potatoes here every day. The player is always watching you. But do not worry. He cannot hear everything. He can only see filtered information. A moment later, Aaron led the team back to the city, and Aaron only killed 1 goblin. I understand your intention. Let's hurry back. The scene changed and they arrived at the restaurant. But once again, all that was waiting for them was potatoes. Was not that guy supposed to be the chef by choice? Post his information suddenly appeared in the man's view. Turns out, he's someone who does not even have cooking skills. At this moment, the man decided to appoint Chloe as the chef. He then proceeded to prepare a hearty meal. During dinner, the man told them everything about this place. He then appointed Enoch and Chloe as the carpenter and chef, respectively. From now on, you must help us properly. Although the survival rate for non-combatants is high, We cannot afford to be careless, because there are limited spots on the team. If I summon someone more skilled, you'll still have to fight in the end. Scene change. The man's monotonous daily life began to change. 3 boys wanted to join the training. Their names were Jide, Hansen, and Dika. And of course, the man trained them very strictly. Meanwhile, Jenna's lower-level archery has reached level 5. Even her lower-level swordsmanship has reached level 2. Aaron's spear technique has reached level 2, but he has not made any progress recently. Despite training from dawn till dusk, he's not seen any results. Furthermore, the 3 in front have each gained level 1 in swordsmanship, and a few days later, the player performed another 10-fold summon. There are more and more people. Maybe will increase in the future. But why does not the player go to the 5th floor? They've seemed to stay on the 4th floor for quite a while, because the difficulty of the 5th floor is different, and the player has not even decided on a team yet. Moreover, the difficulty increases dramatically every 5 floors. It's like facing a boss. Even I do not know if I can survive there. We do not know how difficult the future levels will be. The man did not dare to tell Jenna. Meanwhile, the players have already formed their team. Then they arrived at floor 4 once again. Now they will undergo teamwork training. Although everyone has their own way of fighting, it's more important to strengthen the group's power now, rather than focusing on individuals. Meanwhile, the man stands by, quietly watching everything, because if he steps in, they would not be able to continue training. Moments later, through their collaborative efforts, they quickly conquered floor 4. Although the man did not know what kind of task awaited them on floor 5, he was certain it was definitely not something he could accomplish alone. Cut to, the number of player logins has clearly increased significantly, and during the second summoning, the equipment forge also began its operation. The equipment they crafted greatly improved the survival rate of the heroes. It also provided more advanced gear for the main team. During this period, the 3 underperforming individuals were also subjected to synthesis processing. Cut to, Azel told the men they would be going to floor 5 today. This floor will be different. Everyone must be on high alert, but do not be too nervous. Accompanied by a blue light, they were transported to the floor. But why are there no monsters here? Do not be careless. Go to the city center first and observe the situation. The city is so empty, not even a shadow in sight. Is not this supposed to be a monster extermination mission? The man then signaled Jenna to climb up the clock tower, but when she reached the top, she froze in place. Jenna, what did you see? This cannot be happening. There are many goblins outside the city, and they are heading toward the city. How many goblins are there? There are thousands of them. A mission alert has come in. Floor 5 mission type survival. Survive the oncoming hordes of enemies. What is going on here? Do not be afraid. This mission is not about exterminating the monsters, it's about surviving. We just need to hold out here for a while. They originally planned to hide inside the building, but were prompted with a no-entry message. How long do we need to hold out? About 10 minutes. Damn, what rotten luck. But the actual time limit is 30 minutes. Encountering a survival mission on a lower floor is incredibly unlucky, because the hero's survival rate is only 9%, and this kind of floor is also known as the Hero Crusher. They decided to make a stand in a narrow alleyway. Because the passage is narrow, it can effectively prevent the influx of goblins. Then the man assigned tasks to everyone. I'll take the left side. Aaron will take the right. Judd and Hansen will cover the rear. And the man further instructed Janie to treasure the bow and arrows. Do not shoot without my order. Start setting up roadblocks now. 30 minutes. The time in the U dungeon is consistent with Earth time, not the rest. The timer will start counting down after the battle with the goblins begins. Meanwhile, a goblin caught the scent of a human and immediately attacked the man. Damn it, I'm not ready yet. Countless goblins surged in without end. It's endless. At this moment, the man kept slaying the goblins in front of him. If you're tired, just tell me. In this situation, we cannot afford to make a single mistake, and the goblins in front of them were madly charging toward them. Do we really just need to hold on for 10 more minutes? Of course, when have I ever lied to you? At the same time, there are only 26 minutes left. Looking at the countless goblins in front of us, we absolutely cannot die in a place like this. At this moment, a goblin lunged at the man, but was pierced by the man's arrow on the spot. The man then signaled for Guide and Hansen to switch shifts. Damn it, my stamina is running low too. And not only are their levels low, but their skills are terrible as well. They've wasted too much stamina in the battle. We just need to ensure a single strike to kill each goblin. That way we can maximize efficiency with minimal stamina usage. These goblins should all be from the first floor, but there are too many of them, yet they showed no fear in the face of death. Then the man gestured for a change of personnel. Jenna quickly helped Jed retrieve all the arrows that have been shot. Jenna suddenly shot an arrow, instantly killing a goblin. Meanwhile, Aaron asked, was not it supposed to be only 10 minutes? Only 5 minutes have passed. Another goblin attacked Jenna, but she kicked it away. Meanwhile, Jade's arm was severed. He was bleeding profusely. The man gestured for them to ignore him. Quickly, someone else should stop the goblin. As long as we survive and make it back, everything will be fine. Then Gideon fell into fear. Damn it, this goblin is never ending. Wake up. Do you want us all to die here? Remember, if you do not switch out, Hansen will die here. At this moment, the man was desperately slaying the goblins, but a goblin to the side was mocking everyone. Then Hansen stated that his weapon was broken. So Jai, despite his injuries, fought again. This aspect, even if it was an F-grade iron sword, it was still just an ordinary iron sword. Since the sword would not work, then use the shield. Jenna quickly switched with Aaron, but Aaron insisted that he could keep going. Shut up, rest when it's time to rest. At this point, the man announced there were 3 minutes left. Damn, 30 minutes feels so long. Then came the process of switching shifts. Jenna, quickly use your bow to help Hansen, but the bow and arrows on her were already worn out. Quick, use the remaining arrows to stop them, otherwise we'll all die here. Jenna fired several arrows in succession, hitting the goblins in front of her directly, but causing no damage whatsoever. The next second, the goblin pierced Jed on the spot. He then fell to the ground. Jed is in a death state. At the same time, the man was desperately slaying the goblins in front of him, and Jenna, facing the situation, did not know what to do. Hansen on the side clearly had not realized that Guide had been severely injured. At this moment, facing the goblins in large numbers, the man was holding them off with his own strength. I'll take over Hansen's position here. You hurry to the left passage. At this moment, news of Guide's death came from ahead. Jenna, come help me. Dead? The man at this time was using his shield to block the goblin's attacks. Meanwhile, Jenna's skill was awakening at this moment. How much time does my brother have left? Do not ask about the time. Quick, click to kill the goblin. At this moment, in a critical state, the hero's souls have awakened. All of the man's skills have leveled up. Damn it, awakening is useless now. The next second, Hansen was severely injured and fell into a state of hemorrhage. Staring at the swarms of goblins in front of him, Hansen could only tremble in fear, rooted to the spot. He was soon buried under the tide of monsters. Meanwhile, the man led Jenna and Aaron to escape from here. They then arrived at an alleyway. Are we gonna die here? Do not say such ominous things. Hurry up and climb the wall behind you. The goblins had already caught up to them. The man could only fight back desperately. Jenna then said she had made it up. You guys hurry up too. So the man leaped with all his might and reached the top of the wall. Aaron, you come up too. At that moment, Aaron was grabbed by a goblin. Then the man leaped down again. Immediately afterward, he decisively chopped off his leg. Pull him up quickly. Meanwhile, Aaron was near death. Meanwhile, the goblins nearby were slowly piling up. There are actually such intelligent goblins. Stop thinking about that. Hurry and stop them. We absolutely cannot let them get up here. About how much time is left? I cannot hold on much longer. 30 seconds, only 30 seconds left. Hold on. At that moment, the goblin grabbed the railing with both hands, just as the man was about to swing his sword down, but he was immediately stabbed in the abdomen by the goblin. Damn it. With the goblin pulling out the knife, the man let out a painful scream. At the same time, Jenna, like the man, also began to bleed. Is this where it ends for me? It's only the 5th floor. Only 5. A red light flashed in the man's eyes. In the next moment, the man seemed to be possessed by a god of war. Stop joking. It's only the 5th floor. How could I die in a place like this? At this moment, the goblin suddenly launched an attack. Figure flashed by. He immediately killed all the goblins in front of him. His skill awakened and had gained the berserk skill. Bring it on, goblins. Although he was struggling to breathe at this moment, his muscles were aching uncontrollably. He could not suppress the anger inside him. Bring it all on. Damn goblins. Then the man unleashed a frenzied slaughter. With every strike, he instantly slayed the goblins in front of him. Even if his weapon broke, he would never stop. Just as the battle between the two sides was about to begin, the dungeon countdown ended. In an instant, everything fell into a state of stillness. With the message of the instant's completion, they received their instance rewards. Immediately, they were teleported outside the instance. Floor 5, weekly instance cleared. Collectible materials available. Strengthening room and heroes. At this moment, they finally breathed a sigh of relief. Did we finally survive? The man gave an affirmative answer to this. Is this kind of low-level work the norm after the 5th floor? This time, we just encountered a special mission. Just now, if even one person fails to play their part, then we will all be doomed. If we had trained Hansen and Jide for a bit longer, we would not have been so miserable. The survival mission was not as difficult as we imagined. It's just that the timing was not right for us. The scene shift. They returned to the town. Big brother, you must be exhausted. But what about Guide and Hansen? They're dead. Upon hearing this, Dika froze in place. Only they walked towards the center of the town. Moments later, the man was lying on the bed. I do not want to feel sad because someone died, because on the front lines, death is an inevitable thing. But I actually got the berserk skill. However, calm and berserk skills should not coexist. This must be a bug. Is it related to my constitution? Forget it, I would not think about it anymore. I should rest properly now. Because I still have a lot to do tomorrow. The scene shifts to the training ground. At this moment, Jenna is training hard. Why are you working even harder today than before? Because I do not want to die yet. Jenna gained a skill in yesterday's battle. She has both talent and hard work. In contrast, Aaron endured so much pain, yet received no skill. And my growth stat is fixed at 5. This is the growth stat of a 3-star hero. It can only be shown at a growth stat of 1. I'm almost at the level 10 limit for a 1-star hero. Now I should aim for 2-star promotion, but why is not Aaron here for training today? He's probably in his room blaming himself. Take a same. But usually they're here by this time, because they're very dedicated to training. Unless guys, they only pretend to train when players log in. Hansen and Jeet are both promising. Those guys should have died in their place. Aaron rushed to the training ground. What's with that expression? If I were stronger, they would not have died. Remember this. They died because of your weakness. That's all? Unconsciously, the man has already been living in this world for over a month. Through this period of observation, it has been concluded that the time difference between the lounge and Earth is about 3 times. The player logs in 3 times a day. In the morning, noon, and evening. The last one is the time spent in the dungeon. It aligns with Earth. The players created a new team, and they are about to enter the weekly dungeon. The weekly dungeon collects various rare materials. Candid Forest remaining time 11 hours. Surprisingly, the dungeon has indeed opened. Do we need to fight? Do not worry, we do not need to fight. Then they were teleported into the dungeon. Jenna, on the other hand, was very alert, looking around. Will there be a special quest here like in floor 5? This is called the weekly dungeon. It's a place for gathering materials. At this moment, a teleportation portal appeared next to them. As long as they throw the collected items into that portal, that way he will appear in the warehouse. Is it really unnecessary to fight? Jenna, you're different. Come home with me. Then Jenna followed the man's pace. The scene shifted. A moose appeared right in front of them. Then an arrow flew in and killed it on the spot. Can you butcher a moose? Of course, I've learned just by watching my father. Then it's time to slaughter it on the spot. Remember to put the materials in that hole. I'll go hunting first. A moment later, the man arrived at a river. At this point, only 30 minutes remain. Will it be automatically transported out when time runs out? At the same time, 3 elk suddenly appeared in front of the man. And the most beautiful among them was the legendary forest queen. She was a rare monster that only appears in the regular forest dungeon. The lower level attribute stones she possesses can be used as materials for the man's upgrades. At this moment, the man swiftly slaughters the moose in front of him. Immediately after, he kills another stag on the spot. At this point, the forest queen is clearly very angry. Your companions have all been killed by me. I bet that does not feel good, huh? Bring it on. The scene shifts. The man carries the forest queen back to the original location. Hurry, help me deal with this. You caught only 1. 2 elk and a wild boar. Jenna's successful collection of the queen's blood is announced at this time, but this doe actually has legs. Can you tell the difference just by looking at their heads? Of course, I've spent a long time in the forest. And at this time, Jenna's awakening of the forest hunter skill is announced. Did I awaken a skill again? But with this, leveling up should be much easier. Lower level win attribute stone level dip. Used to craft various items and enhance hero star ratings. The weekly dungeon varies depending on the day of the week it's dispatched. The location of the dungeon will also change. To obtain other attribute stones, the man and Jenna secretly arrived at the dungeon. It was here that the man discovered the grass of life. They are key material for crafting healing potions. I will collect them all in the future. Moments later, they encountered a plateau wolf. They immediately killed it on the spot. Jenna then proceeded to butcher it, and the man obtained the materials he wanted. This place is truly peaceful. It would be wonderful if it could stay like this forever. I actually hope the players never log in. The children of Niflheim probably feel the same way. Do you hate fighting? You do not have to be on the front lines. At least for now, you do not need to worry about being synthesized. So are you trying to find me a good position? If the situation were better than it is now, it would not be impossible. The man responds with a smile. The scene shifts. They have arrived on the 6th floor. Object explore an unfamiliar place. Meanwhile, Dika has joined the team. It seems today is not a regular weekly dungeon. It's another rare mission. At this moment, the man signaled everyone to lower their heads. But instead, they all collapsed to the ground. I only asked you to lower your heads, not to lie down. There's nothing here. Relax, everyone. As long as we meet the conditions, we'll pass through safely. At this moment, they noticed 3 level 8 goblins not far away. Can we kill them? Wait, he has a horn. This means there are more of them nearby. Jenna, what did you see? There's a goblin tribe nearby. About 100 or so goblins. Is this a trap setup? The man gestures for Jenna to kill the goblin on the far right. The other one will be taken down by Aaron. The goblin with the horn will be handled by me. You stay. If anything happens, come help us. At that moment, Jenna fired an arrow. It immediately killed the goblin. At the same time, Aaron pierced the goblin with his spear in an instant. The goblin nearby was about to summon its companions, but was immediately slain by the man with his sword. Is that the end? Not really. I'll go investigate. Since there's exploration involved, it cannot be a single task. There should at least be a hint for the next dungeon. A moment later, the man arrived at a tribe. Is this the goblin's habitat? At this moment, the goblin seemed to sense something unusual, but when he looked back, the man had already been teleported outside the dungeon. Where did you just run off to? I was just looking around. There were too many prompts appearing in the main dungeon. Explorations like this are called flows. Whether the flow can be analyzed depends on the player's ability. I do not know if what I see is conveyed to the player. Although the flow appeared earlier than I expected, at this point, Lo said something big had happened in town. Strange people had arrived in the city. What's all the fuss about? Those people seem unusual. They're all carrying weapons. What's meant to come will come, and they are the summoned high-level heroes. The main wolf soldier brigade has been born. From them, you can feel that the 5 of them are deeply connected. During consecutive draws, there's an extremely low probability of summoning heroes who are psychically linked, and when they're on the same team, their combat effectiveness will be higher than their individual capabilities. Could it be that the players are spending money? Isel gave an affirmative answer to this. The man then disbanded the group. Even with the arrival of a special newcomer, nothing would change here. A moment later, Jenna was talking to a woman. Hello, my name is Jenna. May I ask what your name is, sister? My name is Edith. Then Jenna introduced the man to her, but the man was focused on her status information. No wonder he's a 3-star hero. His strength and stamina are relatively low, but his agility is very high. This is a typical rogue class, and he specializes in short blades. At this point, the man expressed that he wanted to have a serious talk with Edith. The scene shift. Do you know this place? Some know it, some do not. Do you remember how you got here? I only remember I was summoned here to fight. Do you know about synthesis or something like that? Synthesis is using others as sacrifices to strengthen yourself. The difference in summoning levels, after all. This also determines how much information he knows. He's also at a very high level among Samsung's foreign players. Although the previous 2-star hero was also a foreign player, he is significantly stronger. Meanwhile, Issel conveys the order. The main wolf soldiers emerge to Rendevis. Scene change. The player created a team called Purple for Wolf, and set Van as a leader of the main wolf team. Now the player wants to see their strength. Meanwhile, Jenna, what do you think of them? Sister Edith seems pretty good. I do not know about the others, and the human nearby, faced with the upcoming synthesis judgment, so they begged the man to save them. But the man refused. What were you doing during training? Only now you want to ask for help? Is this your way of survival? Tidy up to the stronger ones? Forget Aaron, even now you cannot even reach Dika's level. You guys are just pretending to work hard every day. You're pretending to work hard just to avoid the guys who are judging you. Disappear from my sight. Moments later they left this place. Aaron, do not sympathize with them. Do not forget that while you were bleeding in the dungeon, they were all enjoying their lives. Moments later, the Wolfmane soldier regiment finished the battle and returned to the town. Who are you? Are you referring to me? You do not need to know. But the blonde uncle angrily scolded. Why are you speaking so arrogantly? It was you who were impolite first. Meanwhile, the captain introduced himself. I am Avant Dazak. I'm the captain of the Bristle Wolf Soldier Corps. And you? I'm Henyas. Are you a soldier too? No, I'm just a farmer. Just farm. The player then began a 10 summon. Following that, the player began synthesis. Isel orders the 3 people in front of her to head to the synthesis facility. Meanwhile, the blonde-haired uncle grabs Diamond. Is the player going to start synthesizing already? But they've only just arrived here. Then the uncle picks up the 2 and rushes into the synthesis facility. At least they should be given a chance, right? The player made a huge mistake. Though a 1-star is indeed useless, but there are also many talents worth cultivating. However, without verification, they are thrown into the synthesis lab. This is a huge mistake. At the same time, the members of the Mao Wolf Soldier Corps are stopping them from escaping. Meanwhile, the man beside gestures to Isabel. Give the players some hints. If the players do not try using a 1-star hero, they would not be able to judge their value. It's recommended to understand them before merging, but Zakin disagrees with this. What gives you the right to interfere with us? I only gave a small hint, that's all. What's wrong with that? At this moment, Zakin suddenly launched an attack, but it was immediately stopped by an arrow. This time I intentionally missed. Are you trying to go against our team? Meanwhile, Edith tried to persuade the captain, but was stopped right then and there. Do you know who we are? Of course I. Are not they just a bunch of useless people? But this caused dissatisfaction from everyone. Han and Mao Lang's team have formed an adversarial relationship. Pay attention to the relationships between the heroes. At this point, Easel states that fighting between heroes is prohibited. It should not be a direct prohibition on fighting, right? That's true. Honestly, you guys are not really a soldier team, are you? What nonsense are you talking about? We are genuine soldiers. Do not fool. You're clearly a band of thieves. You're going too far. Azur, guys like this will only hinder us. Regardless of their level, there are heroes with bad personalities. They will be the main culprits disrupting the order in the lounge. We should get rid of them. That's true. So let's have a duel. At this moment, Han applies for a duel with Avant. A duel is one way to resolve conflicts between heroes that arise from disagreements. The winner may make a special request to the loser. You're really insane. Are you scared now? I know the habits of people like you very well. You asked me about information on the town? You just wanted to know if there are any strong people in the town? And the actions you just made are the conclusion you came to in the... You're nothing but a bully who picks on the weak and fears the strong. And Jenna does not understand what men are talking about. Simple really. If I win, he'll become the material I use for synthesis. Otherwise, I'll become the material for his synthesis. This is truly interesting. Then Ivan accepted the duel. The two heroes' dual conditions are synthesized. Does the player agree? The player immediately gave a negative reply. It seems the player is a coward. Jenna, take them back to the dorm first. But will you be alright alone? Do you think I'll lose? No. Then Ivan sent another challenge. This time the choice was to accept. As long as one side surrenders, it will determine the winner and loser. Izil, keep an eye on the others. Do not let anyone interfere. At this moment, Ivan suddenly launched an attack. From the perspective of pure ability, he has indeed developed into quite a talent. Level 2. His strength is almost at 20. His basic swordsmanship has already reached the 3rd stage, but you've chosen the wrong opponent. Ivan swung his sword with all his might, but it was easily dodged. Then the man grabbed his arm. He immediately slammed him to the ground. Then he drew his sword and stabbed it into his shoulder. If you move, it'll hurt even more. Tell me you're willing to surrender. Speak louder, I cannot hear you. Enough, stop. We lost? What are you talking about? Do you think I'll just stop because you say so? Besides, this is a duel, an agreement reached by both parties. What right do you have to interfere? Whether to concede is up to the participants to decide. Just as Ivan was about to concede, he was stopped by the man. As long as he does not say he surrenders, it will not end. This guy's my... Edith, do you really want to hang out with guys like this? Or would you rather come with me? They're all just useless. Come over here, I could use someone. After a moment of contemplation, Edith ultimately chose to leave the group. With that, the main wolf battalion disbanded. The 3 others nearby were already furious. They watched their surrendering captain. They decisively attacked the man. But they were stopped by Izil. If you interfere, I'll kill you. It seems the rules have been triggered. I wish you a safe journey. Izil's eyes suddenly sharpened. In the next moment, they unexpectedly exploded violently. The captain immediately surrendered. Then the man released his berserk state. At this point, all he felt was a splitting headache. Could this be the after effect of using berserk? And won the duel against Ivan. Ivan was about to be synthesized. Meanwhile, the players were frantically clicking the screen. What is the player doing? He must be trying to cancel the synthesis. If that's the case, he should not have accepted the duel in the first place. But it seems like he did not know there was a dual mechanic. Soon after, the man leveled up through synthesis. The lower level sword and shield skill and pain resistance were upgraded. At this point, a notification appeared saying the hero had reached the maximum level. If you want to improve their level, please upgrade their star rating. To level up, you can use attribute stones or 1-star heroes. They can be upgraded up to 7 stars. I even did a 10x summon to train them. But unfortunately, they all died. But you'll understand later. My approach was correct. My current level is 10. My overall stats are close to a 3-star hero. If he's foolish enough to use me as material for synthesis, then he'll never be able to climb that tower. So what are you planning to do if he dares to synthesize me? The scene changes. Everyone is thanking the man for his help. Do not get the wrong idea. I only saved those newly summoned players. It has nothing to do with you. The players are really angry right now. At this moment, Izil's command comes and 6 people step forward. Do not worry, everyone. We should go and capture the goblins as usual. If it were a regular task, only 5 people would be enough. But why are 6 people being called out now? What else could it be? Of course, it's because they are going to perform a synthesis. The people present were all very shocked. What are you talking about? We've already done our best. Aaron, Dika, do you really think they did their best? While you all are sweating it out and training all day long, what are they doing? Has Jenna ever helped you hunt properly? They have helped me carry meat and hides. They can also transport livestock. Do they only have the value of livestock? Meanwhile, the bald man was about to step forward to argue, but he was knocked to the ground by the man. At this moment, Izil is urging everyone to hurry to the square. Who will they merge with? It should be Edith. After all, he was just summoned and has a low level. This is also a reasonable measure. Then after a series of merges, Edith leveled and learned the skill of disarming traps. I do not care about your identities before you arrived here, but now that you're here, you want to survive. You must prove that you have value. But what if we have no talents? You can learn the skills of the people behind me. However, skills are not something you can learn easily. If they have enough motivation, they will study hard. If you want to learn combat, I'll accompany you to the end. Hunting or karting. There are many ways to survive. It's up to you to choose. Meanwhile, a notification of a player logging off came. Brother, you're really kind. I just told them how to survive. If they follow my advice, at least they will not die so absurdly. What happened earlier was just the players venting their frustration. If they do not try to survive, they'll eventually be processed for elimination. But we're getting closer and closer to floor 10. It seems it's time to prepare the second team. The scene shift. The man gestures for Edith to follow him to the training ground. A moment later, they arrive at the training ground. Jenna, please spar with Edith. Only short swords are allowed, but I'm best with a bow and arrow. Then Jenna begins sparring with her. Jenna launched a fierce attack toward him. It's unbelievable. This young man is so strong. Immediately, the two of them used all their skills to attack each other. After a moment, Edith collapsed to the ground exhausted. Are you both just rookies? Why are you so strong? It's not because I'm just the daughter of an ordinary hunter. We were not that strong at the beginning either. We became like this because of the training here. Edith, although you're weaker than us right now, you possess better skills and growth potential. As long as your level increases, the gap between us will shrink. Meanwhile, Aaron complained that it was a lie, because no matter how hard he tried, he could not catch up with them. Anyway, you get what you put in. I'll keep that in mind. More and more people were arriving at the training ground. Could it be because of yesterday's synthesis? But the number of trainees is still too small. Each facility only has 2 professions. So the rest of the people should be synthesized. Meanwhile, a man who is training catches his attention. What is your name? My name is Arthur Roderick. I've heard about this place. It means there is someone called a player. We were summoned here by the player to fight. Your fighting stance earlier was good. What did you do before? I was just a porter for a peasant army. Would you fight doing something like that? Because I want to become a soldier. Then let me check and see. If you're really cut out for this. Since that day, the elimination of newcomers began. Although Aaron had also participated in the battles, it was Arthur who was selected. Through consecutive syntheses, he reached level 3. As usual. Enter the weekly dungeon. They might be able to obtain fire attribute stones from the mine dungeon, but it has not been unlocked yet. Cut to. Jenna is complaining about why she had to meet up in the middle of the night. Does anyone know why we were called here? Is it to choose team members? But are not the teams decided by the players? I can suggest players. Maybe the players would not refuse. So from now on, we'll decide by drawing lots. We will form teams based on the results of the draw. Since there are 6 people, each team will have 3 members. There will be 2 team leaders, and the other is Edith. But is not Jenna more suitable than me? She cannot, but why split into 2 teams? Because the chance of a total team wipe is high, and if we put all the growing high-efficiency talents in the same, it would be very dangerous. Floor 5 is a perfect example. The power gap between team members is too large. It could put the whole team in danger. The number of teams required for future missions will also increase if those personnel do not grow evenly. Then progressing through the floors will become very difficult. The red one is mine, the blue one is Edith's. It will be the same no matter which team we join. Let's start drawing now. A moment later, the results are Jenna and Aaron are on the red team. The rest are on the blue team. Look at everyone's expressions. So I'm that unreliable, huh? But it's true, is not it? I've not been here long, and I have little practical experience. Objectively speaking, there's a significant skill gap between them. But there's nothing we can do about it. Edith, if you cannot keep up with us, you'll be left behind. Do not worry, I do not want to die yet. Then the man proposed a team formation to the player. The specific plan is as follows. Whether accepted or not is up to the player's judgment. Scene change. They arrived at floor 7. Mission: eliminate all goblins. Big brother, now I can finally go all out. But the man said he would handle it himself. Then he activated his berserk mode. With just one horizontal slash, he wiped out all the goblins in front of him. A shadow fight. The goblin legion collapsed in an instant. At this point, only one goblin remained. This mission is likely related to the next dungeon quest. We cannot just end it here. Do you need me to wrap things up? Do not worry about it. Anyway, a single goblin cannot do much harm to us. Let's start exploring. The first thing to note is that it's raining right now. The second is that there are rivers. Finally, the dam is collapsed. Moments later, they finished their mission and returned to the town. It was at that moment that the man suddenly noticed something. He immediately signaled for Aaron to stop. The player had purchased the beginner's pack. Jenna, go bring the raffle barrel from the room. Aaron, take Edith and bring her here. At the same time, the player began 2 high-level summons. This was something the man had anticipated, because once the player starts spending, they will never stop. Whether it's in battle or synthesis, the reactions from the heroes bring the player different kinds of enjoyment. They were even able to give commands and instructions to the heroes. Each time a floor was cleared, the lounge would level up, new content would be added, and the hero's action would become more varied. This way players would be drawn in by these fun elements. At the same time, 2 3-star heroes walked towards them. They were Oka and Roderick. The next moment, Oka tripped and fell in front of the man. What is this person doing lying here? Do not worry about him, he'll get up on his own. Meanwhile, Edith mentioned that she was of noble birth, because she had lived with the soldiers' regiment for some time, so he knows quite a bit. But how could someone like her, so clueless, end up? The scene shift. After talking, they realize Roderick knows about concepts like player summoning and synthesis. But he does not understand the concepts of skills and levels, and he always feels like he needs to do something. Are we supposed to fight unknown enemies here? That's right. But the details will be revealed after the draw. The draw will be done by Edith and me. It's clear who should be chosen, the inexperienced girl or the seasoned captain of the guard. The choice is obvious. At this moment, Jenna brings the draw tube in front of her, and the man sees their specific colors. Damn, did Edith see it too? At this moment, Jenna announced the start of the draw. Both of them actually grabbed the red tags at the same time. Why did you choose him? Then why did you choose him? Of course, because I saw it. At this moment, Oka's information appeared. Type mage skill ultimate flame magic. Both of them want a mage in the team. Because in Pick Me Up, warriors or thief can promote by leveling up a 1-star character, but mages can only be summoned through spending. They are a rare talent. The chance of them appearing is also quite low. At this point, Jenna suggests that everyone redraw. This time, no matter who gets what, no complaints. Of course, they each drew a tag. Looks like the mage is mine. Oka, you're on our team now. The man sent him a party invitation. Bajing invited Oka Team 1. Meanwhile, Roderick joined Team 2. Meanwhile, Isel was dragging a human towards the synthesis lab. Hen, you clearly said that as long as we try we can survive. Turns out, you're the kind of person who has not even learned basic support skills. Olka, you should go in too. Unless you do not mind dying too soon. With the sound of synthesis, Iolka underwent an upgrade. A worthless person will meet such a fate. If you do not want to become material to be synthesized, then you can only become more diligent. This is too terrifying. Next it'll be your turn. They will become your synthesized materials. It will end with a painful scream. Roderick received an upgrade. At the same time, Isel opened the rift in space and time. It seems like this will test the newcomer. It is signaled for the uncle to enter the rift. After all, you're the main character in this battle, uncle. At this moment, the man curiously asked Elk, what magic can you use? Why should I tell you? Do you not want to fight? Answer my show. Why did I end up in this place? Why did I end up in this unfamiliar place? I have no reason, and yet I am supposed to fight. A reason to fight. If you do not fight, your fate will be the same as those guys from earlier. Let me ask again, what magic are you capable of using? At this moment, Olka was slumped on the side. She stated that she could use 3 levels of fire magic. Do not you have any support magic? I disdain using those third-rate magics. If you saw my fire magic, you'd definitely be shocked. That's a bit of a shame, because the practicality of supportive magic is much higher than that of attack magic. At the same time, the second team completed their mission and returned to the town. Seeing their relaxed expressions, they probably went to a lower floor for testing. From Edith's expression, it seems Roderick is much stronger than we expected. But now it's probably our turn. The team entered the time-space rift. The scene changed. The man gazed at the floor numbers before him, lost in thought. We should go to the 4th floor, right? Because the monsters on the 4th floor are quite suitable for testing the mage's spell types. As soon as the battle starts, we retreat. We need to properly observe the power of your magic. Floor 4 is incredibly simple. One person from our team is all it takes to clear. Do not you have confidence? Did not you say you'd use magic to surprise? That's right. Meanwhile, Isil announced that the instance was about to begin. Then he looked worried. The floor lock in front of the man suddenly unlocked. That place such a sly fox? Then they were teleported to floor 8. This is floor 8. Everyone quickly take out your weapons and be on high alert. Damn it, are you still angry about what happened last time? At this moment, an arrow shot towards Alka. The man immediately pushed her down to the ground. Soon a mission update came in floor 8. Eliminate all goblin cavalry. There are 27 of them. Damn, why is it them of all people? And it's not just 1 or 2. There are nearly 30 of them. They're really about to shoot them. Aaron is attacking them from the side. The man was about to give instructions to Urka, but was interrupted on the spot by a goblin. At this moment, another goblin charged at the man. The man downed to dodge and then slashed it to death. Then he launched an attack on a group of goblins. At this moment, a wild wolf pounced at the man, so he raised his shield to block it. Aaron, it's your turn. Then Aaron thrust his spear and pierced him right through. Olka, now it's your turn. At this moment, he looked completely panicked. Are not you a mage? Hurry up and use magic. But he said he needed a little time. How long? About 1 minute. Then you should start quickly. Yorka closed his eyes tightly. Then he began chanting magic. Aaron, Jenna, quickly focus and protect Yorka. At this moment, goblins were surging toward Yorka like a tidal wave. Is the magician really the first one they need to eliminate? Oka, when you're casting spells, cannot you use shield magic to protect yourself? But he was focused on hiding at that moment. Standing there would be very dangerous. Damn it, does not guy even have the ability to use shield magic, let alone even move when he's casting? Meanwhile, a goblin suddenly attacked the man. The man raised his shield to block it. Then the goblin unleashed a powerful blow. The man dodged. Then the man killed it with a counterattack. Meanwhile, a goblin attacked Oka. The man swiftly saved her. What are you doing? You almost lost your life. Do you realize that? How dare you cast magic without any protection? Let's move to another place. Do you see that forest? Safer there. At this moment the man signaled Oka, wait until we enter the forest, then use your magic to strike the entire area. At this time, the remaining goblin army launched an attack on them. The man kicked Oka in front of him straight into the forest. Then he activated his berserk state once again. This is the second time he had activated berserk today, although he was already very tired. He needed to buy time for his team. At that moment a goblin suddenly shot an arrow. The man raised his hand to block it. Then a goblin riding a wolf came running towards him. That speed was incredible. Immediately afterward, it swung a knife at the man. The man ducked to avoid it. Then several more arrows were barely dodged by the man. Damn, they're really annoying. Meanwhile, the goblins had already arrived before him. Figure flash past, instantly killing the goblin in front of him. The next second, the man was ambushed by a goblin. Then he regained his composure. Damn, I've used up all my stamina. At this moment, a spear was thrust at the man. The man, however, used all his strength to turn the tables and counterattack, but this only attracted more enemies. At this moment, Aaron wanted to help the man, but he was rejected. I will lure them away. Just focus on the monsters in front of you, but Olka's not ready with the magic yet. Meanwhile, Jenna signaled that the man's magic was ready. The man ran towards the forest. A fierce slash came at that moment, but the man dodged it instantly. Then using the goblin behind him as cover, he, instantly escaping the horde of monsters, accompanied by Oka's chanting, countless flames rose around them. At this time the man leaped forward. He raised his hands, muttering, "Ignite." Then, an incredibly fierce flame surged towards the monsters. Its power is so great that even men must step aside. The fire tornado is sweeping through the entire forest. This is truly an unbelievable amount of power. The two people beside also appear to be quite shocked by this. At this moment, the man gestures for the two to take care of the remaining goblins. Then he begins fighting with the goblins, however due to overusing fury. The man had long since exhausted his strength. Since he's exhausted, he'll use his skills to defeat the enemy. The man spun around and threw his shield right at his face. At the same time, the two of them had already dealt with the monster in front of them. If you're feeling tired, I can still protect you. When did you become so arrogant? At that moment, another group of goblins suddenly launched an attack. Jenna sidestepped to avoid it. Then she drew her short sword and killed it on the spot. Meanwhile, a wild wolf charged at Eureka. It was killed instantly by an arrow. That was really dangerous just now. And as she looked at Oka, who was still chanting the incantation, Jenna quickly realized something was off. She immediately signaled for the man and Aaron to leave quickly. At the same time, Oka suddenly opened her eyes. With a scream, a massive magic circle suddenly lit up in the midst of the monsters. Then a burst of sound erupted among the monsters. The power was so great that it even affected the entire forest. At this rate, we will eventually get hurt. And in the next second, just as the man thought the crisis was over, at the same time, Hulk slightly raised both hands. Fiercely powerful fire tornado suddenly appeared out of nowhere. It immediately swept across the entire land. Moments later, only a massive fire pit remained at the spot. The scene shifted. Having completed the task, they were teleported back outside the dungeon. To think they could eliminate over 20 goblin cavalry at once. Is this the power of a mage? Of course this is the power of the Great Fire. My power will surely shock all of you. But then blood spurted from his nostrils. What's wrong with him? It seems his magic is completely depleted. But speaking of which, within that minute he was casting the spell. He really could not do anything. We could only protect him as best as we could during that time. And not only can he not use support magic, but even aside from magic, his other attributes are lower than a one-star hero. This is something we've never encountered, whether as men or players. He's basically a hero created just for combat. Even so, his strength is still impressive. I think maybe it would not be the most important one in the team anymore. A moment later, the player established a magical hall. At the same time, Oka was undergoing physical training. Someone like me in advanced talent. Why do I need to do this foolish training? Then you'll only be able to eat potatoes from now on, because all the meat is for those participating in training. But this outfit is much nicer than that dress of yours. That's a magically enchanted item specially made for our family. It's an item that can enhance the power of fire magic. But with just this little bit of training, you're already this exhausted. It seems you want to eat potatoes, and even if the players do nothing, they will find it very interesting. But the addition of the mage was just right. Even the Hall of Magic has been opened simultaneously. Thanks to the Ralter Mine dungeon opened yesterday, now they can collect 3 kinds of weekly dungeon materials. There are still many materials collected before in the warehouse. It seems like it's time to start making consumables. Meanwhile, a notification came in that a player logged off. The man then signaled to Jenna to keep an eye on Alka. Do not let him slack off during training. As for the potion crafting, originally required high-level apothecaries and alchemists to make. If we could use minigames to craft equipment like that, then even without technical skills, a man could still make it. A moment later, the man arrived at the magic hall. Let's start with crafting then. I remember the potion making minigame. Great, it seems to be a rhythm game. Accompanied by the man's rapid tapping, he successfully created the lower level life potion and lower level mana potion. He truly lives up to the name Loki. Although using too many materials may raise the player's suspicions, it's still better than dying in battle. Meanwhile, the man called the two of them to the magic hall. Do you know why I placed the brazier in front of you? The man suddenly raised his right hand. He pressed his hand directly onto the fire pit, but they were frozen in place. If we do not want to be accidentally burned by Ulka's flames, we must get used to the heat of the flames. As the 10-second countdown ended, the man suddenly withdrew his right hand from the fire pit. Don't worry. Anyway, stay in the lounge. It will recover soon. We're fighting alongside Oka. It's inevitable that we'll be accidentally burned by the flames, so we must get used to the heat of the flames as quickly as possible. Is that what we're supposed to be doing now? But to what extent should we do this? Until we acquire fire resistance. And just as Aaron was about to put his right hand into the brazier, but the man stopped him on the spot. I was just demonstrating for you. Practice where I cannot see you. Because I do not want to see you scream in pain, and you have one important task left. The man quickly stabbed a knife into his right hand. That is to master pain tolerance. Now just do what you need to do. Although the healing potion can restore injuries, it also comes with intense pain. To survive, one must master pain endurance. Jenna, on the other hand, needs to learn weapon swapping. She must alternate between the bow and short sword, and switch between them in the shortest time possible. At any moment, she must be able to adjust the range of the battle, and from now on, the near, middle, and far strategies will be dissolved. From now on, the focus will be on Alka. Triangular formation will be created. For this, you must be responsible for defense in one direction. In a moment, the player may send out a second team to conquer floor 9. Based on the information currently available on floor, at least 2 teams will be involved in cooperative missions. Because it's a cooperative mission, the level of danger is incomparable to what we've faced before, so we must stay alert. With Screamzig, and has learned the fire resistance skill. The siege, you need to reduce the power of the magic and increase the casting speed and reduce the mana consumption. This is an insult to me. Do you think this is an insult? Fine, I'll just continue training. Oka's fire skill is a 3-tiered magic. The first tier is the ignition phase, the second level is about eruption, and the third level is ascension. With the ascension of levels, the consumption of magic power will also increase. In order to effectively utilize his magic, he must improve his own abilities. Facing the approaching 10th floor, the man increased the intensity of his usual training. Even regular sword defense training no longer requires the use of a shield. Brother, you're really getting stronger and stronger. After intense training, the man gained the throwing defense skill. The basic sword and shield technique reached level 6. Meanwhile, Jenna held a small knife. Suddenly she launched an attack on the man. The man dodged to the side, and in the next second, Jenna instantly switched her weapon to a bow and arrow. Is this a trade-off? Although he's a 1-star hero, he possesses immense potential. Even his learning speed is extraordinary. If the man does not know about the game, his strength will likely lag behind Jenna for a long time. In contrast, Aaron is considered a relatively normal 1st star. His lower level marksmanship is stuck at level 3, and he still has not mastered pain tolerance. Meanwhile, Orica is training in the magic hall. According to my methods, reduce the power of magic skills, except in special cases. It's best to only use the first stage of magic. Although there are some trainees in the training ground, I still have not found anyone useful. It seems the player does not intend to continue summoning new heroes. Does he want to let those guys join the team? The next day, Ada's team completed floor 9. It seems that all your limbs have been severed. Did you encounter some kind of mission? It was to take down the goblin tribe. There were about 50 of them. Did you notice anything unusual? The ground was muddy. It was as if there had been a heavy downpour. Other than that, I'm not sure about anything else. Then came a message from Team 1. It seems it's our turn, accompanied by a burst of ignition. Team 1 successfully cleared the floor. Currently, the overall level of the teams has improved significantly. Even their equipment has been greatly strengthened. The 2 players from Sh joined 2 different teams. It seems floor 10 is getting closer. The siege, how's it going, Loki? How's the mission guess coming along? If I could actually guess it, I'd be a god. Loki is already Even though I broke through to level 100 a long time ago, I only there after many failures. Players in Pick Me Up grow through failure. The players have not experienced failure yet. It continues. The moment they realize they've failed will be their end. Moments later, everyone gathered outside the dungeon. At the same time, an announcement came in that a player was about to challenge floor 10, so it's floor 10 after all. The man originally planned to train a little longer, because the final member of the team had not been decided yet. Although he had already reached the maximum level, the player had not yet upgraded his stars. If he could train a bit longer, his skill level would also reach its limit. That would make clearing floor 10 much easier. But clearly the player had no such consideration. Then Izzle opened a time-space rift. For the players, this was just a game. If we get wiped out, we just need to draw new heroes. At this moment a message appeared. Attention, this mission requires 2 teams to complete. If the team is short-handed, please use the following method to make up for it, using the Tactics Center as suggested. You can issue tactical commands to the heroes participating in the mission. It's actually the Tactics Center, but it seems players would not use it very well. Then the man gestured to Azer to tell the players to bring out the things from the warehouse. A moment later, both teams received 3 healing potions. Edith will each land in a different place. In that case, we need to Rendezvous in the central area as soon as possible. If you interfere with Han, I will not let you off the hook. Denari? I will definitely conquer floor 10. Accompanied by a blue light appearing, an old man could be seen muttering in fear. We absolutely cannot win. Well done. The man tentatively greeted him, but he could not see anyone. Is this old man? Did Pefzovin appear in quests? So this is what a cooperative quest means? This city looks so familiar. Aaron also mentioned that he has seen this place before. In the next moment, the man suddenly realized that this is the abandoned city on floor 5. However, if there is one thing different, it's that it has not been destroyed yet. Meanwhile, Jenna felt that everything in front of her was illogical. We will discuss these issues later. The most important thing right now is how we should survive here. While the mission has not started yet, the man motioned for everyone to head to the city to gather enough information. The scene shifts, and the man is standing in the bell tower, overlooking the entire city. It seems the soldiers' morale is completely broken. Outside the city walls, thousands of goblins are surging towards the city. In contrast, the soldiers stand outside the walls, the city's remaining forces. Their numbers do not even reach 1/10 of the goblins. Although the current situation looks rather desperate, if it were a survival situation, men's survival rate would significantly increase, because there are enough NPCs to serve as bait. Moreover, there's a very powerful magician. Moments later, Edith's team met up with the man and the others. Just as the man was about to ask what Edith's mission was this time, an alarm suddenly went off. The man was startled. This is a high difficulty triple warning prompt. Then came the mission prompt. Floor 10, prevent the city's fall. Damn it, it's actually a defensive mission. 2 teams plus 350 NP soldiers. Only amount of 360 troops? We have to stop thousands of goblins with that. This is practically impossible. It seems everyone's here. Let's summarize the information and establish a detailed plan of action. Is told, we can interfere with their actions, but we cannot communicate with them. Following this, Aaron also informed everyone of the information he had learned. Currently, the refugees are concentrated in the city center. Large numbers of goblins are closing in on the city from the north and east. They are steadily approaching. No escape routes have been found in the south and west. At this time, Idris asked us if he knew the mission details. This mission will be defensive. We need to protect this city, not be invaded by goblins. In other words, we need to eliminate all enemies. That's simply impossible. Then the older man beside them offered his opinion. I wonder if we could use the empty city strategy, and then strike from behind the enemy. But the man immediately refused. I predict the condition for clearing the level is to eliminate all enemies. I do not know if you've noticed the statue in front of the clock tower. That statue is an item that frequently appears in special missions. If that statue is destroyed, it would mean we have failed the mission. This is truly unacceptable. If this mission fails, we will all die here. Is it not possible to escape this city? When the mission is deemed a failure, no matter where we are, we will die on the spot. Although it seems that this condition is very unreasonable, since it's a game. There must be a way to complete this quest. There are many goblins, but only the Northern Legion has siege equipment. That means, as long as we can hold back the Northern Legion, we still have a slim chance of survival. Then the man signaled Edith's team to head north for defense, but he was puzzled by this. From the current information, no matter what we do, this mission is impossible to complete. I understand your thoughts. Even if both teams are together, they will eventually face a situation where they are breached, because from common sense, this is a battle that cannot be won. But there must be a clue. In floor 7, we learned that the dam collapsed from the 5th to the 9th floor. All the clues point to the dam. This information must have some special significance. But what does the collapsed dam have to do with the 10th floor of the Raiders building? At that moment, Jenna suddenly recalled some important details. Now that you mention it, I did hear something there. I heard horses running across the river, and the man was suddenly startled. How come you're only mentioning such an important detail now? The man then assigned tasks accordingly. Edith, no matter what method you use, you must hold the city gate until we... Understood, we'll do our best to hold on. Is not this too hasty? Do not we need to make a battle plan? Edith is different from you. She understands things quickly. Quickly grab your weapon. We're heading east. But Aaron does not understand. There are thousands of goblins outside. Why should we go out? That's true. But we still have to choose to go out. And if we stay here, we'll definitely be wiped out. On floor 7, the dam has collapsed. If the sound of bird feet that Jenna hears is from the sound of reinforcements, it means the reinforcements cannot join in time because of the dam collapse. In other words, we need to go to the east gate, break through the goblins, prevent the dam on the river from collapsing. So what we need to do is, that's right, we need to eliminate those goblins. Meanwhile, A large number of refugees are pouring into the city, while the men etc. are running out of the city. At this moment, the man signaled for Jenna to climb the city wall, to observe the situation outside the city. Aaron, on the other hand, prepared to open the city gate. He then instructed Oka to release the second stage of the flame magic. The moment the city gate opens, meanwhile Aaron was slowly opening the city gate. The soldiers nearby were shocked, because in their eyes, the gate was turning by itself. At this moment, Jenna reported the situation outside the city. A large number of goblins have gathered outside the city. If the city gates are opened, the goblins will flood in all at once. To prevent the soldiers from disrupting their plan, the man began to punch and kick them. Meanwhile, Ulka was gathering magical energy. Suddenly, an arrow flew toward them, but the man caught it on the spot. It seems the goblin army is about to pour into the city. Meanwhile, Jenna is helping deal with those soldiers. Soon a light rain began to fall from the sky, but this should not affect his magic, right? At this moment, Aaron suddenly swung open the city gates. Countless goblins charged toward Yurka. Accompanied by a burst of flames, the goblins in front of them were all eliminated. Then Aaron and Jenna took the opportunity to run out of the city. The man then handed Oka a bottle of magic potion. Remember to replenish your magic after every spell you cast. Can you still keep up with us? Of course, do you not know who I am? At this point, Shuan was already too scared to say a word. Do you still plan to go out with us? At this moment, he had already fallen into a state of fear. The man then gestured for him to go help Edith. If you can survive that battle, I will remember you. Meanwhile, the soldiers inside the city were slowly closing the city gates. It seems the only option now is to move forward. Under Oka's magic, they successfully open a path forward. Oka, from now on just use the first stage. Reduce your flame's power. Try to cover as much area as possible with the flames. However, Oka spell casting requires a certain chanting time. For this, they had to defend against the goblin attack for over 20 seconds. After a brief battle, a ferocious blaze shot into the sky, instantly annihilating the goblins before them. Seizing the opportunity, they rushed to the dam. Despite the intense heat of the flames, they could withstand it thanks to their armor. They were fortunate that Urka had joined their team. Meanwhile, another batch of goblin troops launched an attack. Due to the rain, the flames were quickly extinguished. Then, the man signaled Yoka to use her skill again. Immediately after, another 20-second battle ensued. As the countdown ends, a fairy tornado rises from the ground. In an instant, it scatters the goblin legion into disarray. Let us continue forward with fire as our shield. We must break through to the dam. Now far, the vast goblin army is slowly advancing toward them, and the goblin king, sword drawn, is eager for battle. Meanwhile, a fierce battle is unfolding between the two sides. The goblin suddenly launched an attack. The man dodged sideways. Then he killed it with one blow. But the man felt very strange, because the goblin's attack pattern had actually changed. That guy is smarter than the average goblin. And now Jen and Aaron can barely hold on any longer, because the oxygen around them is nearly used up. So the man made a decision. Then a figure flashed by. The man instantly created a path. You all come over here quickly. I'll only say this once, so you must listen carefully. There's only one chance. What are you talking about? We have to kill the masked monster. Meanwhile, another wave of monster legions is attacking. The men fight back bravely, with a shout now. Oka. Then, a tremendously fierce flame surged towards the enemy, instantly piercing through the monster horde. While the monsters were stunned, the flame exploded from within the monster group. This is the second stage of the fire magic detonation. This scene left the monsters dumbfounded. Jenna seized the opportunity and fired an arrow, piercing the Goblin King's eye. Meanwhile, Orlta collapsed from exhaustion after his magic ran out. The man picked him up. Even such powerful magic could not eliminate all the monsters. If they continue to attack us, then we'll be completely wiped out. However, their ultimate goal is not us. It's a castle, but their leader is gone. What will they do then? Next second, the monster army marched straight towards the castle. Seems they've chosen the castle. The scene shift. They finally crossed the monster legion and arrived at the dam. The reason we survived is because we killed that monster. If it were still alive, we would definitely be the ones who died. They then used healing potions to treat themselves. Now the northern gates are being breached. Edith's team is fighting desperately to defend, but we need to start our mission. At this moment, a group of goblins were slowly approaching. Esperus. Everyone prepare for battle. Aaron was shocked. What's going on? It seems that this time, they brought a massive creature. The man immediately began assigning tasks. Aaron was responsible for protecting Alka. The giant beast swung its hammer and struck the man heavily. If this hit the man, he would die on the spot, and in the face of such a fierce attack, the only way to defeat him is to slowly wear him down. At this moment, a wall of fire was created around them. As the giant's hand came crashing down, the man swung his sword to block it. Ajana, standing nearby, took the opportunity to shoot a few arrows. Although all of them hit, they caused him no harm. The man then signaled to Jana not to waste any more arrows, because dealing with this monster requires finding its weakness. But does it really have a weakness? Meanwhile, the current situation is looking very grim. And on top of that, another giant beast has appeared. If this drags on any longer. At this moment, the monster attacked. The man almost could not dodge it. Then the man instantly appeared above the monster. Immediately, he plunged the longsword in his hand into the monster's neck. Because the strike was too shallow, it did not inflict effective damage. So the man raised his shield. He leaped at the monster. Then the man swung his sword and killed it. Next came another giant beast. But had no effect. Seeing the giant beast's huge foot about to crush Oka, just then, the monster ran past. But the man quickly reacted. The target of that guy is the dam. So they did everything they could to launch an attack on it. After a fierce assault, the giant beast finally fell into the river. Just when the man thought it was all over, a giant hand suddenly emerged from the river. Then with one punch, it shattered the dam on the spot. At this point, Aaron had already dealt with all the goblins. We failed. If our hypothesis is correct, the enemy reinforcement should be coming to the city via the dam, but the dam has already been destroyed, so they have no way to cross the river. But with only these remaining troops, when the Bridge of Life is destroyed by monsters, humankind has lost its chance to survive. Since the world has lost hope, then I will create hope. I did not expect you could still do these things, because telekinesis is the most basic foundation of magic. Then the man expressed his gratitude to her, because if it were not for her, they would definitely have died here. Meanwhile, another wave of goblin legions attacked, so they fought back desperately, but it had been a long time since they passed the 10th floor. However, reinforcements still had not arrived. Had the man's prediction been wrong, perhaps there were no reinforcements from the beginning. Meanwhile, Oka was replenishing her magic. The goblin spots an opening. It then pounces toward Elka. At that critical moment, a soldier suddenly appears. He immediately slays the goblin. The goblin, now in panic, realizes that their reinforcements have arrived. In the next moment, the goblin army launches its attack. Only the squad leader was seen raising his longsword high. Soldier, offer your hearts. In an instant, countless soldiers surged toward the battlefield from all directions. Then a notification came from ahead. RP Iron Wire Infantry has joined the battle. At the same time, the man signaled for Jana to come and meet up. The Iron Wire Regiment has around 500 soldiers. Although they have no numerical advantage, the men can clearly feel that these soldiers are completely different from the city defense troops. This battle is sure to be won. A moment later, there are 458 soldiers remaining in the Iron Wire Regiment. At this point, the battle has ended. In order to keep up with the frontline soldiers, they must learn how to ride horses. Although the player cannot intervene in combat, it can still influence the battle. This is done by having heroes learn supportive skills. This is one of the skill books available in the combat shop, so the man learned the horse riding skill. Although he cannot directly learn skills related to combat, but he can master support skills like this. Then they followed the soldier group. Now we have more troops. Now, it's time to counterattack. Before the city gate is breached, the goblins gathered in the east of the city pose no significant threat. Their biggest threat now is the north of the city, because it's surrounded by siege towers. And the soldiers knew this. That's why they were advancing north, but the man quickly realized things were not as simple as they seemed, so he signaled the group to move to the sides. They needed to get away from the fighting, but Aaron was very confused by this. Are not they supposed to be protecting the northern part of the city now? Do you really think it's over? We should be heading to the northern forest now? As the group advanced quickly, it turned out to be just as the man had guessed. A group of goblin riders were hiding in the forest, waiting for the right moment to strike. At the same time, a large monster launched an attack on the city. If this group of cavalry joins the battle, the consequences will be unimaginable. The man then asked Elka about his condition. He replied that he could barely use magic, but its power would be greatly diminished. Compared to power, more attention now needs to be paid to range. Next, they will cross the northern forest. Oka's plan was to burn down the entire forest. Meanwhile, the northern part of the city was already ablaze. Only Edith's troops were desperately holding the line, and just then, the Iron Wire soldiers arrived in the nick of time. Suddenly drums beat, war horns blared, and the battle raged. They caught the goblin army completely off guard. They also realized they are the long-awaited reinforcements. Next, they only need to hold out a little while longer, meanwhile accompanied by Oka's chanting. A ferocious instantly consumed the entire forest. Oka completed his task. Although this will burn down the entire forest. But that's actually better, because that was originally the goblins' habitat. The defense battle on the other side of the city is still ongoing, although many of the city guards have fallen. Fortunately, the soldiers who joined later are highly capable. They possess very strong strength. Even when facing an overwhelming numerical advantage, they still managed to hold their ground in battle. In the end, the infantry unit secured victory in the battle. And this meant that they had completed the mission. Although it was a very difficult mission to complete, fortunately no heroes were lost. Just as everyone was feeling joyful, Jenna however felt very confused. Why had they completed the mission, but they had not been teleported back? In an instant the man's eyes widened. Only then did he realize something was wrong, because they had eliminated all the monsters, helped the reinforcements cross the dam, and eliminated the ambush hidden in the northern forest. Ultimately they had won the battle. But why was not the stage completion information popping up, just as the man was puzzled? In an instant the space froze. Everyone remained frozen in place. At this moment a voice signaled the man to look behind. He turned to see a black figure suddenly appear in front of him. It was the shadow with level 999. The next second all of the man's experiences before entering the game flashed before his eyes. It's you. But his level 999 made the man shudder. You should know that heroes below 7 stars have a maximum level of only 99. Then he discovered that there was another figure beside the shadowy figure, a level 15 dark disciple. He saw him staring at the man with a mischievous grin. I will be waiting for you. Then he turned and disappeared from his sight. The soldiers behind him mutated. Soon chaos broke out all around. But the man only told everyone to quickly return to the city, because he immediately recognized these were the legendary resurrected dead. They turn qualifying dead into living corpses, and unless their brains are destroyed, their attack cannot be stopped. But this is not a monster that can be encountered on the 10th floor. With Edith's help, they escape back to the city. At this moment, the man gently set down Alka and instructed them to hold out until they reunite with Edith and protect the statue of the goddess at the city center. Make sure to hold on until I return, but we cannot possibly defeat those monsters. Aaron, you need to pull yourself together. Do you want to become food for those monsters? Encouraged, Aaron immediately gathered his strength. In response to Jen and Oka's concerns, the man assured them that he would return. As the dog door slowly closed, he would now venture alone through the horde of monsters. Although they are incredibly disgusting, as long as we destroy their brains, defeating them will be a piece of cake. But just then, a giant beast grabbed a huge hammer and smashed it down on the city gate. I did not expect even this monster to be revived. At this rate, the city gate would not last much longer. Meanwhile, monsters around him swarmed towards him. At this critical moment, 2 arrows flew in and killed them instantly. It turned out that Jenna was helping the man from a distance. On the other side, under the monster's fierce attack, the city gate was finally forced open, and what awaited them? It will be a never-ending slaughter. I did not expect the gate to open so quickly, but if the man eliminates that dark disciple, it should all be over. He once said he would be waiting for the man in that burning forest, so I come. Damn it. Just now, the man was heading towards that forest. There are 2 reasons for these monsters' actions. The first is to destroy the goddess statue. The second is their strong aggression towards the living. How powerful they were in life. How troublesome it is after being resurrected. These damn. I did not expect its leadership skills to be much better than expected. Although the current situation is not optimistic, what matters most to them now is protecting that statue of the goddess. If the wall is breached by the monsters, so they need to set up roadblocks to stop the monsters' advance, and with Jenna and Aaron defending, they should be able to buy us some time. Meanwhile, the citizens inside the city are suffering from the monsters' rampage. On the other side, the man has already arrived in the forest, and what he needs to do now, it was to quickly eliminate the Dark Apostle. He slowly walked deeper into the forest, but the next second 2 monsters lunged at him. So he drew his knife and struck. In an instant, he killed them on the spot. He then drank a healing potion. Immediately after, he reached the edge of the area, because he knew that guy was right here. At this moment, news came that 2 team members had fallen into a state of fear. Then team member Mei Jin was killed. Even Edith fell into a state of bleeding. At the same time, an attack was seen flying toward him. The man immediately used his shield to block it. But in the next second, the attack shattered the shield and pierced his arm on the spot. It seems the Dark Disciple's melee combat ability is rather weak, but he's still a monster that only appears on the upper floors, so he's still a more powerful being than the man. Meanwhile, multiple attacks came again. The man was seen wielding his sword to fend them off, but there were too many of them. The man was pierced through the body when he let his guard down. If it were not for his strong defense, he would have died long ago. But now he's also in a state of bleeding. If this continues, he will surely die. And he must kill the Dark Disciple. Before his teammates are all dead, the Dark Disciple now wants to have a good talk with the man. Because he finds the man is different from them. The next second, the man lunged towards the source of the sound, throwing his long sword, piercing the man's chest. Simultaneously facing the enemy's attack, he instantly entered a rage mode. The next second, his arm was severed by magic. At this moment, he could only endure the physical pain. Wielding his dagger, he slashed at the enemy. Despite the multiple spells cast by the enemy, even when they pierced his body, he showed no sign of retreat. Accompanied by a fierce roar, his dagger cut through the enemy's throat. He killed him on the spot. At this point, the man finally collapsed from exhaustion. But why has not the settlement information appeared yet? Could it be that this battle is not over yet? If so, we're all done for. It seems that before the goddess statue is destroyed, we'll die here. With the news of Xian's death, the man felt he was about to die here unknowingly. He felt deeply sorry for his teammates, because he had let them down. He failed to lead them to success, to conquer floor 10. But just then, the statue of the goddess emitted a golden light. A blue light appeared right after. Then they were teleported back to the town. The long-awaited settlement information arrived. Then a prompt appeared. After collecting the relevant materials, the man could be promoted to a higher rank. Congratulations, player. You have cleared floor 10. The rest area has been renamed to Townier. To the screen transition, the man slowly opened his eyes. It was at this moment that he realized he had survived. After a moment, the man found Aaron. He appeared to have a troubled expression. Why do you look like this? Aaron replied. He was thinking about the reason for their argument. Ever since the man left, the zombie tide surged into the town. Countless people fell before him. At this moment, the man realized that Aaron was bearing immense pressure. Are you going to keep that expression tomorrow too? Aaron gave a negative response. He then slowly left the place. The scene changed. At this moment, they were enjoying the joy of surviving a disaster. In the man's eyes, everyone's emotions were relatively stable, except for Dai, who needed some time to recover. Meanwhile, in order to upgrade the man's level, the players upgraded the synthesis facility. Next, they would synthesize all the attribute stones into one, a lower-level ascension stone, with colorful lights appearing. Izel appeared before him holding the ascension stone. Then he encouraged the man to strive for 7-star rank. Although the man had no confidence, Izel only he could reach the 7-star level. If that were the case, Sirius should have reached 7-star level long ago. But the man tried everything, yet he never obtained a single 7-star hero. Then the man came to the synthesis facility for promotion. As long as he entered here, he would become a 2-star hero. And this is one of the areas invisible to players. After putting the materials and the hero into the advancement chamber, the promotion began. Even the player was not sure what would happen here. He then placed the stone of advancement on the table. Immediately a blinding beam of light shot into the sky. When he opened his eyes again, he found himself surrounded by unfamiliar scenery, and as he became alert, he realized there was an impassable barrier in front of him. But soon he discovered in the woman's words that the child was named Hen Yizela. He was supposed to come here in place of the man, but due to the lack of understanding of the situation, the man decided to leave. Everything in front of him, however, shocked him greatly, because this was clearly a lounge. But there was not even a single building structure in sight. Meanwhile, a space-time rift slowly opened. Then Izel appeared before him, but he quickly noticed that Izel was much smaller than usual. He looked in the direction the elf had pointed. Descent instance, prove your strength. Difficulty extreme. Only then did the man realize something was wrong. Was not the descent instance the new event that launched that day? But soon alarm sounded. Immediately he fell into a state of fear. Even the man did not react in time. He did not know what had happened. Under the immense pressure, the man instantly went into a berserk state to resist. After a moment of catching his breath, a voice was heard. Finally meet. Before him stood the level 999 Shadow. How did you get here? Although enemies meeting is a sight to behold, his incredibly high level of 999 made the man hesitate. Because this guy, in just 10 seconds, eliminated 5-star and 6-star heroes on the spot. He immediately mocked the man for not attacking him. But the man remained very rational. With his current abilities, he was simply unable to compete with him. If he did not have strong self-control, he might have been eliminated by the Shadow long ago. Do all heroes encounter you when they level up? The Shadow denied this, because the man was a special existence, and he also brought a beautiful gift for the man. A figure slowly walked into the man's view. But the man was stunned, because she looked very similar to Izel. But at this moment the woman did not know how to introduce herself. Could Izel also look like this in the future? And the man did not care who she was at all. He only knew that he was a damn guy. But this statement greatly upset the woman. He then corrected the man's mistake. It was not that he looked like Isel, but that Isel looked like him. Isel was merely his 479th replica. He then threw a business card at the man, and he turned out to be the boss of Mobius. At that moment, the man felt he'd been played. He then bluntly questioned him. Did you bring me to this world? But he claimed it was not his intention, because he had not expected the man to be summoned to Mobius, and the current situation was entirely unexpected. But the man would not believe his word. He immediately threatened the woman to let him leave, but how could he possibly fear a mere one-star hero? Although he's a one-star hero, men grow stronger over time. And if that's the case, then killing him here would be the best choice. Then an attack came straight toward the man. It pierced through his armor on the spot, and then lodged firmly in his chest. It turned out this was just a woman testing him, so the man curiously asked what he wanted, but his following words sent a shiver down the man's spine, because he was a devoted fan of Loki. He was extremely shocked by Loki's performance in conquering the dungeon. He was truly amazed, and his reason for coming here was to tell the man the truth about this world, but he was curious, what were Loki's thoughts on the game's plot? In his impression, players only focused on the gameplay, not the story. He himself thought the same. There was no such thing as a world view here. Players would not care whether this world truly existed or not. Then he slowly snapped his fingers. Immediately the scene behind him changed. This is the Haim Peninsula in the Turnir continent. Although it was a city the man had seen on floor 10, it now looks like this. Then ruins of cities appeared before the man. This is the current state of all regions in Turnir. Do you really think Niflheim would be any different? All continents connected to Mobius will end up like this. Over 100 million planets were destroyed almost simultaneously. This world's demise was predetermined. Everything will eventually vanish into smoke. The people of this world hope for a different outcome. To that end, they only needed to do one very simple thing. That is, bring humans from outside this world here, and then rewrite the plot and direction of this world, because outsiders exist in a higher dimension, and can change the course of the future just by observing, and this is also why Loki was brought into the game world. Upon hearing this, the man gave a disdainful smile. So what's the point of you telling me all this? He wanted to save the world with a man. But before he could finish his words, he was struck in the head by a thrown knife, because he did not believe anything the woman said, and now he just wants to leave this place as soon as possible. It was the one who dragged him into this world, subjecting him to countless torments, but now she wants to seek cooperation together. This is simply a fool's dream. Although the man really wants to strike him down, the level gap is just too large right now. After weighing the pros and cons, the man chose to leave here as soon as possible, but the woman refused to accept this, because she had put in so much effort to bring him here. He then explained why he was so optimistic about Loki. Because he had achieved feats that no other player could. Soon after, a familiar phrase appeared before his eyes. It was one of the notifications from the tutorial, and Loki was the only human who understood this phrase, making him a one-of-a-kind existence among billions of players. The scene behind me changed once again. This is the scene on floor 80. Out of 100 million players, only Loki and the other 4 are allowed to challenge this floor. At the same time, this is also the toughest floor. Do you want to show me this? The woman gave an affirmative answer, and prepared a set of chairs for it. Then please have a seat. And he was very curious. What would it feel like for a man to watch himself clear a level in person? What kind of feeling would he have? Floor 80 is different from previous floors. It would not explicitly tell you the type of task, because his tasks appear randomly. Although luck determines the difficulty of the challenging floor, but most players fail when challenging this floor. They all end in failure. Yet the man clearly remembers the strategy to clear floor 80, so what's the point of watching this video? Keep watching and you'll find out, in the man's memory, when he cleared floor 80. Besides his main team, almost all the remaining teams are wiped out. It's a place where no living creature can survive. Countless monsters dwell here. It's like hell itself. And the man immediately recognized these as monsters from the Fragment series. This is also why floor 80 is called the Wall of Tears. But next, the woman's words sent a shiver down the man's spine. The difficulty varies across different accounts in the game. Even the summoning rates are the same. Loki from beginning to end never managed to summon a 5-star hero. This is not a coincidence. It's not just bad luck for Loki. There are no more heroes left in Niflheim. Even the difficulty is the same. The Niflheim account is internally determined to be one of the few to receive an S rating. But he's curious how Loki managed to clear floor 88. At the same time, a blue light appeared. The strongest hero of Niflheim is slowly making their entrance. The top 5 strongest heroes have gathered together. Next, it's time for them to fight fiercely. Loki seen slowly dragging the hero and placing them in the appropriate position. At this moment, the woman finds Loki's tactics quite interesting. Although the process appears very complicated, the goal is very pure. Cut off their resource supply before raiding the enemy. Next, observe their actions closely. See what kind of presents you will have for them. And this is also the reason why Loki became unique. At the same time, the heroes who received the mission begin preparing for battle. The mission must succeed, failure is not an option. This is not just for us but also for Loki. Next comes the moment where the heroes truly shine. The King's Arrow Nihaku Gasterfell. The King's Spear Mutinic Deck. The King's Sword Lady Jin. The King's Eye Eunice said. Wangji and Sarah set Haim. With the start of the mission, a flash of fire appeared. Instantly, all the monsters were wiped out. This is the power of the strongest heroes. It seems they are truly loyal to Loki. In the game, they are known as the strongest 6-star heroes, heroes below 7-star. No one can handle them. But the most important thing is not ability. It's how they see their master. The heroes realize while climbing the tower that players only treat them as pets to command. But the man is different. He is the true master, the one truly called a master expert, Loki. He is the king of Niflheim. And even now, the heroes of Niflheim are still searching for the man's whereabouts, but only women know where Loki is. From this it's clear that Loki holds a very high place in the hearts of the heroes of Niflheim. His way of playing the game is quite unique. He never used the synthesis function. Normally, players would synthesize unreal heroes as materials to feed to high-level heroes. Even low-star heroes with potential would be fed to high-star heroes without a second thought. Loki has never gotten a 5-star hero from the beginning to the end. Even Ceres is only a 4-star hero. Others have urged him that this is a failed account, but even so, Loki did not choose to give up. Because he's long gotten used to unfairness, Loki said. He has not never used synthesis. He just has not had many chances to, so this is basically no different. The same applies to other aspects as well. Other players treat heroes like toys, playing with them. Once they're bored, they discard them. But Loki is not like that. As long as the hero shows potential, even if the level is too low, he would not easily give up. He rewards heroes who contribute. Otherwise, it's punishment. He then curiously asked the man, "You know all the heroes here are human, right?" Although he did not know how the man had figured it out, this was the conclusion he had drawn. In fact, these game characters are incredibly realistic, so much so that it's hard to believe they were designed by a program. Because everyone has their own unique way of cultivation, so Loki still cannot believe they are real human beings. But is that why he likes men? The woman gave an affirmative answer, even saying she'd wanted to talk to him for a long time, but unfortunately he was still on Earth then. That's a real shame. If Loki encountered him on Earth, he would have definitely killed him on the spot. He already deeply resented the woman before him, because whether it was Teenir or Niflheim, he considered them none of his concern. He was just an ordinary earthling. But the woman forced his situation onto the man, and Loki knew clearly that the woman calling him here was definitely not just to have him climb the tower. Back then Loki was planning to lead the Niflheim team to conquer the 90th floor when he was dragged into this game world, so the man currently would never agree. He worked with him, but now only wants women to completely disappear from his sight. Faced with Loki's firm rejection, the woman had no choice but to give up on the collaboration. However, he hopes the man can come to the place where he is alive, but the man is very curious. On floor is the dark disciple that appeared what he referred to. The woman gave an affirmative answer, but he stated that after the mistake on the floor, he would no longer interfere. The difficulty is on par with the Kingdom of the Dead, both a legendary strength. No matter how excellent Loki performs, the player's failure probability is at least 90%. But if she helps, the result will be completely different. The woman then told him that if Loki could reach the top, she would send him back to Earth and give him half of Mobius's shares. But the man was not interested at all, because he never believed the woman in front of him from the beginning to the end. Then a short sword struck the woman on the spot. When the man reaches the top floor, all the truths will come to light, and he does not need the woman's help. This is his answer. However, the woman showed no concern for Loki's actions and gave him a piece of advice as he began to climb the tower. The prelude to Pick Me Up truly began. Tanir, a place where humans and other races coexist, but upon this prosperous land, a massive invasion of monsters will occur. The reason why Pick Me Up is so difficult is because it's a situation with virtually no chance of victory. But if it were Loki, there is still hope to change this situation. If Loki wants to save the world, he must climb this tower. All the heroes will stand by him in this struggle, and the future of the world will be in the hands of the player and Loki. Powerful enemy will soon arrive. Climb the tower, Loki. We will be waiting for your arrival. But I hope we never meet again. Meanwhile, congratulatory messages arrive from the front. The hero awakened forgotten memories, and successfully promoted to a 2-star hero.